Steph really took us off track, so I'm gonna bring it back to family. We're going to Canada. She took us to New York. Okay. And let's give it up for yourselves coming out, getting out of bed. It's one of the hardest things in life to participate. But yeah, but I'm doing okay, right? Everyone's doing okay. A lot of summer blockbusters coming out. My favorite superhero movies. Finally got to see all the Marvel ones, like Black Panther, Avengers, Ant-Man 2. My favorite one just came out. Anyone seen Incredibles? Yeah. Okay. Well, Incredibles 2 came out. I've waited a couple, 5 years, and it's a great family movie. I mean, they have that one power I'll never have. Family. Then, of course, Mrs. Incredible, if you've ever seen her, she's looking thick with 2 C's. But then she has that one thing Pixar gave her and didn't give me. Serotonin. They took it all out. But it's okay. It's okay. There's good things happening in my life. I mean, that movie really got me asking questions. The age-old question, if you had a power, what would it be? Steph, do you have a superhero power that you aspire to have? Trying not to die when she goes upstage. Cool. Then, Ruby, do you have a power that you aspire for?
I wish I could fly.
She wishes she could fly. Nice. I think everyone has okay, do you want to fly too?
No, I want to be invisible.
Invisible? Oh yeah. But I think we all have powers, so we don't need to aspire. It's already in us. I already know I have a superpower. And that's to work harder only when my boss is around. Steph's seen it, yeah. Then it's the same. Pat comes up to me when I work 40 hours. He's like, Andy, how do you do it? You're always on time, never miss the day. You work hard, you got a moderate sense of humor. Then I look Pat in the eye, then I say, I have a serious passion for not being homeless. You could do amazing stuff when you're hungry. But then I didn't know Pat put on his resume too that my boss has a superpower too. That he has the ability to write down on the schedule that he's not working, but then come in later in the day. Yeah. So one day he finally caught me on my phone. I mean, it was such a big deal that he caught me. He was like, Andy, this is so uncharacteristic of you. Why would you do this? And for anyone who has T-Mobile or anything that's not AT&T and you came down here, it's really hard to get reception when you're in the Northeast Kingdom. And it had been a really big deal because I just got AT&T and I was just flipping around with all the applications I have on my phone, like that hot and juicy one everyone's talking about, where you meet up with random strangers, right? Toss balls, catch crabs, and enjoy free healthcare. Pokemon Go, just as dangerous as internet dating. Then if you're not sure, of course, dictionary.com has an app. Then if you're really not sure, ancestry.com has an app. Then if you're still searching for Jesus, there's Christian Mingle. Then if you're looking for John 3:16, Adobe got a reader. But the app that I use a lot, the demographics, I'm pretty old too, but if everyone wants to be hip right now, no, the face doesn't show it, but I recommend this for anyone who's over 30 or hitting 35. Urban Dictionary. Has anyone been to Urban Dictionary? Yeah. That's how I came up with the word thick. I don't usually use it, but I just Googled something for something funny to say. But Urban Dictionary got the app too, which is a lot like Merriam-Webster's strung out GED brother from Rutland. It's a great website if you look up stuff. But then there's an app that I play with my best friend Allison, Words with Friends. Or she'd like to say, best is just a 4-letter word in your limited vocabulary. Okay, self-deprecation ends there. So, what else is happening? Big news. My second favorite 2 chains got in the news. Papa John's and KFC. So if you've been following the news, Papa John's, I think they have one in Burlington. It's good pizza. They got the garlic sauce. Don't feel bad to hate on them. I know it's very popular to hate on them, but Papa John actually got in trouble on a diversity call, which is the craziest part because he was getting reprimanded for some of the stuff he said about the NFL, and he had actually got in trouble for being racist, and he says, I shouldn't be considered racist because Colonel Sanders actually said the N-word 5 billion years ago, and I guess it was proven. Colonel Sanders from KFC, the fried chicken. Oh, maybe some people don't eat fried chicken, but Colonel Sanders, I think there's a KFC up here, right? Yeah, there was, yeah. Oh yeah. But he had blamed KFC, and I'd never seen anyone throw someone under the bus that hard. It's terrible. And it reminded me of that one time Roseanne threw my best friend Ambien under the bus and blamed her for Ambien tweeting. So Roseanne Barr, hit star of Roseanne, good reboot. But then, let's see, she got in trouble when she was tweeting one of Barack Obama's White House aides, and she said something racist. Then, of course, she got in trouble for it. She deleted it, but we found it. Then not me, I didn't screenshot it, but we found it, and she had blamed Ambien tweeting. It's a good excuse, but it was terrible because Ambien, true story, actually came back and tweeted, Ambien, racism is not a known side effect of Ambien. So, true story, there's a screen cap of that. Then that's crazy to have Ambien tweet at you, right? That's like Ambien taking on Ambien about taking Ambien and addressing social issues about taking Ambien. Just crazy. We just want to live in a world with more Papa and less John. And he should have just used the Ambien excuse, right? That's always a good go-to. But it is dangerous. But what else? Little Tara didn't even know about this. Ruby didn't know about this. Steph didn't know about this. But I actually went to Harvard a couple months ago to visit. And so it's been officially 6 months since I've been in Vermont, and it's beautiful. Yeah, got to see the snow, some of the beautiful leaves, the snow right now, beautiful people. Let's see, and when I first came here, this is kind of self-deprecating, but we're gonna try to rise above that. I didn't have any friends, true story. So I'd go to universities, then I'd go on the campus tours. I'd strap on a backpack, hang around the Asians, and blend in. Then, or my friend Allison liked to say, are you that insecure that you'd have to turn that into a joke? So a little known fact about me, I actually went to Harvard last weekend. But I was so embarrassed when Allison called me out on that. She was like, why does everything have to be a joke? I mean, this is kind of self-deprecating too. I mean, it's hard telling jokes. Steph knows the worst thing is not getting a laugh. I'm sure in the shower she never gets a laugh, but here, there's always laughs. But like, why is it even worth it if I'm not getting a laugh, right? So you're the first one to hear it right now, before my boss, before Tara's right here, before anyone, I'm actually leaving Burlington. I'm leaving Vermont. I'm leaving the East Coast. I'm leaving what formerly was Pangea. I'm taking that space shuttle up to space.
All right.
Has anyone heard of Space Force before? Give a clap if you heard of Space Force. Yeah, nice. There's a lot of, I don't know why it's not coverage in the media, a lot of fake news around it, but I follow it a lot. And for those of you who don't know, Space Force is actually another branch of the military. It had been proposed in 1970, but our president wanted to bring it back. So it's another branch. We already have 5 branches in the military right now, right? We got the Army, Marines, Navy, Coast Guard, and Air Force. So we know the biggest humanitarian crisis is making sure I have unlimited data when I come through New Hampshire. But I think Space Force is a great idea, like to protect our satellites, protect our space in space. But the biggest part is just its name, and of course there's gonna be critics with everything, right? The conservatives are saying, oh, just another form of government waste. Haven't you seen that documentary, Star Wars? Then the scientists say, we're already floating in space. Donald Trump saying, you can't take a knee in space. And what else is going on? Elon Musk is saying, SpaceX can make hella small submarines for Space Force. But everyone's just not even asking what Yoda's thinking. He's just in the corner. Like, there's Star Wars 9 just started officially shooting, but Yoda's in the corner going, Papa John's story, unfortunate indeed. But the crazy thing about Space Force is just its name, right? I mean, they just took Air Force, like modified it and put space in it, right? I mean, the Air Force has been around for like 1 billion years, so you could come up with something more original, right? It's like they picked out 10 words from Star Wars, right? Put it in that Sorting Hat from Harry Potter, good series too. They came out 2 ones that made sense, tossed them out, picked again, then they came up with Space Force. But the hardest thing about Space Force, I mean, why are we going to space to defend our space? I mean, who's going to be already in space? Like, I think ISIS might be there in the Middle East, right, of the moon. Then what else? Then Japan might be on the drops to Jupiter. Then what else is going on? Tupac might be on the galaxy, spiral galaxy M65. Or as my friend Allison would like to say, that's physically not possible. Why don't you do the smart stuff for the smart people? And that's exactly why I want to join Space Force. I want to use my GED, do GED stuff in space, come back with my GED, keep doing GED things, and make GED great again. Thank you.